Hello, everyone. In this session, we want to talk about pass-through disk. A pass-through disk is storage that we can configure when we're configuring a virtual machine. Now, in previous sessions, we have been talking about virtual hard disk, which are areas of space on a physical disk drive allocated for use by the virtual machine. However, it is also possible for virtual machines to access physical disk directly. This type of disk we refer to as a pass-through disk. Now, in order to add a physical hard disk to a virtual machine, the virtual machine must have exclusive access to that disk. And this means that you first have to take the disk offline in the parent operating system. The system, which is the host computer. The host meaning the computer that hosts that virtual machine. And we can do that by using the diskpart command, or we can do that in the disk management snapping. Let us take a look at the disk management snapping. Here we have a disk, a physical disk, that is attached to the host machine. This is a raw disk, so you see here it's marked unknown and it's marked not initialized. The first thing we have to do in making this disk offline is to actually make the disk online, because the system will not be able to use the disk unless it's online. So what we want to do is to right click on that disk and initialize disk. After we have initialized the disk, you're going to see that we have a choice here of choosing either the MBR partition style or the GPT partition style. Once you click on OK, then your disk is going to be initialized and it will be placed in online mode. In order to turn that disk offline, you simply would then right click on the disk and click offline so that the disk will become offline. It is necessary for the disk to be offline, because if it's not offline, it will not be available for selection when you are configuring the storage for your guest VM. To configure the disk in the guest operating system, in the new virtual machine wizard, you have to choose attach a virtual disk later. If the pass-through disk will be used to boot the operating system, it must be attached to an IDE controller. And here you see the physical disk, and the controller is an IDE. You can either have a SCSI or IDE controller. Once that disk is offline, you're going to be able to choose it from the physical disk in the list. If that disk is not offline, then you're not going to be able to choose that disk because it's not going to appear in the drop-down box. Once the pass-through disk is configured, the guest can be started and data can be placed on that drive. Remember that the pass-through disk is a disk that where the storage is directly linked to the physical disk on the host machine. which is different from the storage being a virtual disk that is created on the virtual machine. If a pass-through disk being used to support an operating system installation is brought online before the guest is started, that guest VM will fail to start. When you're using a pass-through disk to support an operating system installation, provisions must be made for storing guest configuration file in an alternate location. Why is this? This is because the entire pass-through disk is consumed by the operating system installation. An example would be to locate the configuration file on another internal drive in the Hyper-V server itself. Also, be aware that pass-through disks cannot be dynamically expanded. Our main point here, bear in mind that you have a choice. You can use a physical disk for storage, but remember, you have to take that disk offline. This is the end of our session on pass-through disk. I want to thank you for listening.